Hear the crunch of snow under your boots as icy wind snaps at your face, and see endless white stretching out past massive blue glaciers and stone-gray fjords. This isn't just cold, it's a world frozen in motion. Right now, you're standing where the earth still feels wild. How do people even live here? What secret stories do these ancient groaning glaciers keep locked under tons of ice? Stick around, because exploring Greenland unlocks a kind of hidden wonder you can't find anywhere else, and we're about to see it up close. All right, let's head north to the edge of the Arctic Circle, where we find ourselves standing before the vast expanse of Ilulissat Icefjord. The air's so crisp it almost crackles, and each breath you take is a cloud drifting away on the wind. Here, time slows down. The first thing that hits you, the sheer scale of everything. You look out and there's this field of icebergs bigger than buildings, floating like sleepy giants. Their surfaces shine in every shade of blue you can imagine. Soft turquoise, deep navy, ice so clear it glows. My boots squeak and crunch as I cross the snow to get closer. Suddenly, a chunk of old ice shifts. There's a low rumble, and a piece the size of a house tumbles into the water below. It's thunder and then silence, except for the fizz and pop of tiny air bubbles escaping ice that's maybe thousands of years old. It's not just pretty. There's a story living here, right in these walls of ice. Ilulissat Icefjord is one of the only places on Earth where you can actually see glaciers calving. That word, calving, sounds gentle, but it's kind of wild. A glacier, just this rolling river of ancient packed-down snow and ice, creeps forward until the edge cracks, thunder roars, and boom, a new iceberg is born, crashing into the royal blue water. And every year, the glacier moves fast, sometimes as much as 40 meters a day. Locals call it Sirmek Kujalik, and it's one of the world's fastest and most active glaciers. Back on shore, I chat with Anna, a lifelong resident of Ilulissat, bundled up in a parka lined with thick fur. She tells me, "I never get tired of the ice. It talks to us. You can hear when a storm's coming, how the ice creaks and groans." That's how my grandfather knew when to warn the fishing boats. She laughs, her breath making icy clouds. You learn to listen here. If you aren't listening, the ice wins. We launch a drone out over the fjord, and honestly, it almost loses itself in the maze. From above, the icebergs look like a frozen parade. Some are jagged like spilled teeth, others are smooth and wide, flat-topped like secret tables. Water channels cut around them, swirling turquoise and cobalt wherever the sunlight sneaks through. It's a painter's palette made out of water, wind, and time. The sound is a symphony, too. There's the deep, low booms as cracks split through the ice, snappy pops as ancient air escapes, the soft lapping of cold waves, and when everything goes still for a moment, you feel that silence in your bones. If you close your eyes, what do you hear? Just your own heart thumping, really. It's that quiet, even though you're surrounded by this breathtaking chaos of ice. There's something magical about standing completely still, letting your senses stretch way out. It's the kind of quiet that makes you think, what secrets are frozen deep in this place? Scientists say that the ice here holds tiny bubbles of air locked away for tens of thousands of years. Actual samples of our planet's old atmosphere. If you chipped off a sliver, it might hold stories from before humans ever set foot in Greenland. What about the colors? If you're a photographer, even if you're just snapping pictures on your phone, this is a wonderland. In the early morning, the ice beams gold and pink as the sun barely skims the horizon. Midday, it's blue and silver, blinding and brilliant. At sunset, everything glows orange and purple, and the water reflects the sky like a mirror. Anna tells me her favorite time is right after a storm, when the clouds drift away and the mist rises like smoke off the water. That's when the fjord feels alive, she says, pointing out a seal's dark head bobbing between the floes. Now a few tips if you want the perfect shot. Head to Surmermayet Valley for a view down into the heart of the fjord. The path climbs through rolling snowy hills, and when you reach the lookout point, everything opens up at your feet. icebergs floating as far as your eyes can see, the village of Ilulissat glowing behind you, red and yellow houses against the white. Bring layers, windproof ones. Even in summer, the wind bites. Safety here isn't just a suggestion either. Icebergs are unpredictable. They might look still, but underwater they're always shifting. The local guides know the waterways. Follow their routes, and you'll see hidden spots tourists usually miss. Take a quiet boat out at night and you might catch the northern lights dancing above the blue ice, a green curtain shimmering between the stars. It's unreal, honestly. It can almost make you forget how cold your fingers are. You grow up with the ice, you learn its moods. He remembers stories from his father about summers when the fjord was blocked solid, like a room you couldn't walk out of. Some years the calving happens so fast, new icebergs pop up overnight and block the main channel. That shapes everything, what people eat, where they fish, even when they go outside. So here's the thing, Ilulissat isn't just a stop for sightseers. For centuries, it's been home to fishermen and hunters who read the ice like a map. I met Peter, who's been piloting boats through these waters since he was 12. You grow up with the ice, you learn its moods. He remembers stories from his father about summers when the fjord was blocked solid, like a room you couldn't walk out of. Some years the calving happens so fast, new icebergs pop up overnight and block the main channel. That shapes everything. What people eat, where they fish, even when they go outside. But that's not the only secret the ice keeps. Scientists come from all over the world to study these glaciers. They measure just how fast things are melting, what it means for rising seas and changing weather. The locals notice every small shift, a new crack, a thinned channel. My grandfather says he never saw the water rise so fast when he was young, Anna recalls, shaking her head. It's changing, even if it doesn't look like it. Standing on the edge as evening falls, you see the water glow with reflected sky. You hear another rumble, a distant iceberg tipping on its side, and it feels like the world's most ancient heartbeat. There's wonder here and a little fear, but mostly awe. Each moment pulls you deeper, wanting to discover every hidden detail, every frozen story. So what happens when we trade this icy wildness for the warmth of human connection? Can the silence of the fjord compare to the vibrant beats of Greenland's towns and villages? The answer is just ahead. Step off the ice and listen. The rest of Greenland has its own, softer music. The first thing you notice in a tiny Arctic village is the hush. Snowflakes drift down, sparkling like tiny crystals on the wind, and you hear every sound. The quiet slap of boots, the squeak of sled runners, the way your breath leaves a delicate web of frost in the air. It's a different kind of silence. Thick, welcoming, full of life just beneath the surface. Early one morning, I join a group of locals as they start their day. The village here is a patchwork of red, yellow, and blue houses, each perched on wooden stilts to keep them above the deep snow. Smoke spirals up from a chimney, and the whole place smells faintly of wood fire and sea salt. People wave as they walk by, faces bundled in hand-knitted scarves, eyes crinkling in smiles that light up the coldest air. Maria, a grandmother with bright eyes and a laugh that warms the room, pulls me inside her kitchen. She's making swasat, a traditional seal soup, the kind her mother taught her to make when she was a girl. The kitchen is small but cozy, with hand-sewn sealskin mittens hanging over the stove. She ladles out the soup and slides a bowl toward me. It's rich, savory, smoky. Even just the steam fighting off the cold is comforting. "We use everything," Maria tells me, stirring the pot. "You waste nothing up here. The seal gives us food, clothes, everything we need." Beyond the kitchen, her grandson Noah sits on the floor, carefully sewing a new pair of boots from thick, gleaming fur. He grins, holding them up for me to try on. "You can't buy these," he jokes, "unless you want frozen toes." Here everyone learns a craft. Some make tools, others catch fish, weave baskets, carve tiny ivory figures shaped like seals and whales. It's all about surviving, but also about pride. Handmade clothes are art, but they're also armor against the cold. Later that day, I follow Maria and Noah as they head outside. Kids zip down the slopes on old plastic sleds, yelping and laughing. A pair of dogs bark as they tear across the square, trailing a wooden sled loaded with chopped wood. Each family's dog sled is different, some painted with symbols, others worn smooth by years of hard work. As the sky darkens and a pinkish glow settles over the snow, the village gathers for evening storytelling. We huddle around a crackling fire, red flames bouncing off the elders' weathered faces. Maria's uncle, old but sharp as anything, begins to tell a story, the tale of a great hunter who challenged the northern wind. The children gasp at every twist, wide-eyed, half believing the world outside is still ruled by ancient magic. It's cozy but powerful. This is how history survives. I ask about holidays and celebrations. How do people find joy up here when winter feels endless? Noah shares a grin. We celebrate when the sun comes back. When the first orange light touches the hilltop, everyone runs outside and cheers. There's music, dancing, games. You never forget the first sunrise after darkness. The connection people feel here isn't just with each other, but with the place itself. Their stories, food, and crafts all grow out of the landscape. The sea, the ice, the long silence of winter nights. Even the dogs seem to understand. They curl up in thick packs when the temperature plunges, knowing exactly how to keep warm. Elders pass down ice lore where it's safe to walk, which cracks will sing before they split. You listen to your bones, Maria's uncle says, tapping his knee, and you listen to the wind. That's how you stay alive. One afternoon, I walk with some local fishermen down to the edge of the sea ice. They stamp their boots, drill small holes, and lower lines for Greenlandic halibut. While waiting, they swap jokes, stories about narrow escapes and big catches, their laughter echoing through the frozen air. The fish are cleverer than us sometimes, one man admits, grinning as he reels in a tiny glimmering catch. Community means everything here. If someone's sled breaks, neighbors show up with wood and tools before the sun goes down. When a storm blows in and the winds howl, people huddle together for warmth and friendship, sharing food and stories until the danger passes. You have to help your neighbor, Maria says. No one can last long alone, but it's not all hard survival. There's so much warmth. Kids chase each other between snowdrifts, their laughter like bright bells, while teenage girls show off seal boots embroidered with swirling geometric patterns. Sometimes they race across frozen ponds or weave through the ice on skates. The cold sharpens everything. Food tastes richer, jokes cut deeper, and small acts of kindness feel enormous. Now here's something else. Art is everywhere. Bright murals decorate the school, carved figures guard the entryways to homes, and even the sides of boats are painted with animals and swirling waves. I spot an elder hunched by his doorway, carving a tiny narwhal from bone, whistling softly as he works. Maria tells me, that's how we remember who we are. Every carving, every song keeps our story alive. Sometimes the silence outside is deep enough to hear your own breath, but inside these homes, it's full of chatter. Kids arguing, dogs barking, the thump-thump of boots, the calm voice of an elder sharing a memory. It's life, warm and alive, pressed up against the cold. Survival here feels like a group effort, one woven through generations, from great-grandparents to new babies bundled up against the wind. Walking out at night before bed, the air bites my cheeks and fills my nose with sea brine and wood smoke. Aurora dances overhead, soft green light curling across the shimmering ice. A new day is coming, and you realize every person here is shaped by the land, just as much as the land is shaped by them. The connection runs deep, silent, strong, and always there, like ice beneath a soft blanket of snow. But this isn't the end. What happens when you take all these lessons and bring them home? How does a place like this change you forever? The answer and the ripple effects are closer than you think. Before you started this journey, maybe Greenland sounded like a far-off dream, a cold blank spot on the map with nothing but endless ice. But now, after seeing these wild glaciers, hearing the deep silence of frozen fjords, and sharing stories with people tough and warm as Arctic sunlight, you know there's so much more to this place. Standing at the water's edge, you might close your eyes and feel the crunch of snow underfoot, the sting of cold wind, and the peace that settles in your chest when all you hear is the shifting, ancient ice. You'll remember faces, Maria's laughter in her cozy kitchen, Anna's proud glance as she tells her grandfather's stories, the shining eyes of children racing across snowy fields. These are moments you can't capture in a postcard. Real, living memories that stick to your heart long after the plane takes off. There's something about Greenland that pulls people to the edge, not just of land, but of comfort, of what you think you know about yourself. Maybe it's the way you have to listen, not just hear the pop of ice, the sigh of wind, the low hum of a community pressed close against the cold. Or maybe it's the way people look out for each other without being asked, sharing, helping, laughing together through the longest winters. Adventure isn't always about scaling mountaintops or chasing thrill after thrill. Sometimes it's found in the quiet patience needed to sew a warm pair of boots, or in listening to a story that's been told 1,000 times, shaped by each telling. It's learning to find beauty not just in bright sunsets, but in frost on a window or a meal shared around a table crowded with neighbors. Travel, when it's real, changes you. Out here on the edge, wrapped up against a wall of wind, you learn small lessons that don't leave you. The world is bigger than you ever guessed, and also smaller too, because a smile needs no words, a helping hand is always understood, and every place has its own music if you just stop to listen. Maybe you're thinking, could I really make it here? The answer, probably yes, if you go with an open heart and a little bit of courage to step outside what's usual. Try something that makes you nervous, taste food you've never had, talk to someone whose stories are different from your own. Wherever you go, let curiosity lead you instead of fear. As we say farewell, let's remember the depth of Greenland's snow, the laughter inside its colorful houses, and the warmth that lives in every shared cup of seal soup or slice of bread. Or, as the Greenlandic people say, kujanak, which means thank you. Your journey doesn't end here, not really. There are so many more hidden gems and wild frontiers waiting in the Arctic, and next time, we'll uncover survival tales, midnight suns, and even stranger stories carved out of the ice. So ask yourself, where will you go next? Which frozen edge or sunlit field will call your spirit of adventure? Because there's a whole world out there just waiting for someone brave enough to take that first chilly step. See you on the next adventure.